Hi there. So this next set of videos, probably be divided into two videos, is going to talk about some of the skills needed to work on the assignment for Project 3. This project is called One Story, and it's our opportunity to begin to get a little bit more into content in conjunction with design, some narrative, a little bit of storytelling. There are those 6 attributes you can pick from. Maybe you're going to tell a story about a triumph or about a secret. But it's all going to begin with a sort of canvas. So we're going to go over here. We're going to go File, New. And we're going to pick some dimensions for this. Let's say you want it to be a rectangle. It could be 9 by 12 inches. You want it to be a square. You go 9 by 9. I'm going to try this. I'm going to try a tall one. I'm going to try 9 wide, 12 high at inches. We're going to stick with 150 for the resolution pixels per inch. Grayscale is still dandy. 8-bit, good deal. Okay. So starting now, you can work with some of the skills we've done for the last few projects. So you can use line work. You go back here to use pencil and brush tool to do some line work. You can use shapes. I have dictated that there are going to be 4 values in this project: a light gray, a middle gray, a dark gray, and a black, so that we can begin to talk about a little bit of layering and space and what happens when things are maybe a bit more dramatic and darker, or how do we make things recede and come forward in space. So you can use those drawing tools. I, though, think I'm going to talk a little bit about doing image searches so that you can maybe find some icons on the web. So let's navigate over here to Google. And let's say we're going to do an image search for something like, let's say, hot air. Can I spell this right? Hot air balloon. Yes. So by doing a web search for hot air balloon, we're going to go to images, and we're going to pull up a bunch of stuff. This is going to be an icon that I have a sort of symbolic connection to that I want to use in my one story about maybe triumph, or maybe that's what my story is going to be about. So here are all these, of course, hot air balloons, very colorful. One of the first things I'm going to do is actually use my search tools, and I'm going to only search for black and white. Now, you could convert the black and white RGB to grayscale, but I'm just going to accept the limitation of searching in black and white. It usually doesn't limit much at all. A further sort of limitation that you might want to try is under the type. You may want to limit it to only clip art, which will bring in very simple, very designy kind of flat vector shapes. I'm going to risk going for the any type, the whole deal, but in black and white. And I'm going to avoid things like this dude's tattoo, which is more of a photographic source. I'm going to avoid it for lots of reasons, but mostly because it's not going to work well as a design. Like this one here could work pretty well. Some of these line work could go for you. What interests me today, maybe just this simple thing right here. Wow, it's going to be big. Another thing, you can see that when I hover over it, beneath there is a sort of caption that says 4,114 by 5,559. That refers to the pixel dimensions. That is very big. That's going to be a high resolution image. Super helpful for a lot of art that you're going to create. This image is very small by comparison, only 543 by 725. This image here, 654 by 1000. Anyway, I'm going to go for this sucker. It is big. I'm going to go for the view image. If I just dragged this right now to Photoshop, I would only get the thumbnail, so I wouldn't get that full dimension. You probably know that, but I'm going to go into view image. It's going to pull it up, and it's going to be big. And I'm going to then grab it, pull it down to my dock, and then open it within Photoshop. So it opens its own page within Photoshop. Nice. You see up here at the top, it is an RGB file. We're going to be bringing this into grayscale. So one thing I might do right away is actually shift the mode into grayscale. Now, it hardly matters because when you drop it into your grayscale file, it will become grayscale, but this is just going to make it smaller. So let's just do the grayscale right there. Also, image size, you're going to see it is big at inches. Let's see, inches here. It is 13 by 18 inches at 300 pixels, so quite large. I might just also, just for the sake of argument, take that down to 150 and maybe something more like 10, because you already know your file is pretty big. Ooh, yeah, do that, link those. oh, pardon me, I did that wrong. So 150 at 10. Okay, yay. So it's going to be a little smaller. Make that larger just by going Command plus to make that bigger. All right, so let's say in this image what you're interested in is not having it be full on black, but having that be a bit more of a subtle gray. So what you want to try to do in this example is pick all of your black and turn it into gray. So what are some selection tools that we have or maybe have not talked about before? You may know about some or not. The fourth tool down on the toolbar is going to be one of two tools. It is either going to be the quick selection or the magic wand. Both of them I'll show you in these videos. I'm going to start with the magic wand. It's a little bit more tedious, but it's basic, so I want you to know that one first. So I'm going to pick a magic wand. Up here you have a set of tools. Let's stay with the point sample. For the tolerance, it usually maybe starts at about 10. If it's lower, it means it's less sensitive to selections. If it's something like, you know, like 70, it may be too aggressive in what it chooses to select. Let's try it to its default at 10. I'm going to zoom in a little bit on this, and I'm going to just click on a black area. Ooh, yay, it picked many black areas. Let me deselect that. Let me show you something else. Let's take it down to 2. Still picked a lot. Well, I'll take yes for an answer. So it's picked, you can see 1, 2, 3 of my bands. It's picked all of this basket down here. That's really helpful. It has not picked either the left or the right bands of black. Here's what's going to be tricky. If I go in here now and click on that with my magic wand on this right black band, it picked it, but you lost the central selections. Eek! So now you click on those again. Oh no, now you lost the right one. You can see that you sort of have to pick one or the other, or seemingly it appears that way. That's not going to work. Let's pick those middle ones. That's the majority. I'm going to show you a nice little trick. Hold down the Shift key. Okay, so that's marching and selected. Hold on the Shift key. You see that the magic wand now has a plus next to it. That means you can add to this selection without losing what's already selected. So now I'm going to come over here and click on that black, and you see it gets added to it. Okay, come over here to this side, click on it, it gets added to it. So now you have all the black selected, you're pretty happy. But let me say one thing, what if you actually clicked too much? You clicked on something you didn't want selected. You can also hold down the Option key and it turns into a minus. So then if I clicked on this, it would deselect it because I have minus. This would deselect it. I don't want that, I just want you to know about it. So I'm going to take the plus again, Shift key, boom, boom, got all those things selected. Okay. Now I want to fill them. I want to fill them with a gray. So edit fill, you know this from the exercise video. We're not going to pick black. We're not going to pick 50% gray. We're going to pick the color. Interesting, we're in black and white, but we're going to pick color. We're going to pick a middle gray, which I have told you is 160. So 160 red, 160 green, you see it's sort of a lavender color now, 160 blue, and you've gone to a nice middle gray. I say it's nice and say okay. Got to say okay again. We're leaving the blending mode and such right there. Say okay. And wow, look at that. It's filled it with gray. I am going to turn off that selection by going Command D. That's deselected. And there it is as gray. Okay. So now let's duplicate layer. Let's pop that into our untitled, right? Our untitled file. Say OK. And let's check that out. Bam, there it is. Okay, so I went from the hot air balloon, which was my downloaded one, over here into the untitled, which I had already set up. And here's my layer 1. Boom, there it is. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to label this balloon. Okay. And at this point, I can use my move tool, move this, whoa, not the background layer, Dove. Okay, move that balloon all around, wah, 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 take it on and off. I can use my transform, right, my transform. And I can hold down my Shift key, make that smaller or larger. I can pivot that sucker. I can put it up here, and I can say, darn, I am happy. I'm going to hit the return key. Okay, so I'll stop now and pick up in the next video.